Welcome to Free Tutorial TV and a tutorial about the PyQt6 course. In this section, we are going to learn that how we can work with different widgets in PyQt. We will learn that we will create levels, buttons, combo box, sliders, radio buttons, and also different widgets. We learned that you can create a layout management system for your GUI. Also, we are going to learn creating simple apps using Qt Designer. We will work on signal and slots mechanism in this section. Now let's get started the section. In this lesson, we are going to learn that we can use QLevel class for creating levels. The QLevel class is related to QWidgets module. QLevel is used for displaying messages and also images. And also you can use QLevel for displaying zip images. Now there are different methods that you can use in QLevel class. For example, using set text, we can set a text in the level. Using set pick maps, we can set an image to the level. Also use set movie, we can set give image to the level. Now let's create a simple example of QLevel. So this is my PyCharm ID and I'm going to just create another directory in here and I can just call it part 2. In here I can just create a new Python file and that should level example. Now the first thing is that we are going to create our simple GUI window, and after that window we can add our level, and I'm going to just copy the codes from the previous part. It was a code for creating the window and I can just copy this and bring it here. So we are importing some classes from Qt widgets module and also Qt GUI module. And all this is our main window class that extends from QWidget. You can just grab this. And also we can just copy this app equal to compilation and we can add it in here. Now if I run this, you will see that we have just a simple window that we are not seeing icons because the image folder is located in part 1. We can just copy this and bring it here like this, and now if I run this, you can see that I have a simple GUI window in here. Okay, now let me just close this. So now we have already said that QLevel class is related to QWidget module, and now first we need to import a QLevel from the QWidgets module, and in here we can create our level. First we need to create the objects of QLevel. Now after that you need to give the text of the level. For example, I can say Python GUI development, and also you need to give the parent. For example, we can just give it self. And now if I run this, you can see that we are seeing our level in here. Also you can set a text like this. For example, we can just say level.setText, and so this is a method that we can use for setting the text to the level, and we can just say new text as here. Now if I run this, you can see that we have our text in here. Also you can move your text. You can just say level.move. So right now we haven't learned about layout management in PyQt, and for right now we can just move our text and we can just use move. You need to give x and a y position. So for example, we give 100 for x and 100 for y. Now if I run this, you can see that we have our text in here, and we can change the font of the level, and as there is a method that's called set font. Using set font we can change the font size. So level, we can just say level dot set font. Now the set font expect Q font, but Q font is related to Qt GUI module, so we need to import that, and now we add the Q font in here. So qphone, for first you need to give the family of the font or the type of the font. So you can just give it this type, sans serif. And after that we give the size of the font, for example 15. Run this. Now the text has changed also. You can change the color of the label. So we can say label dot set style sheet color colon red. And all, now if I run this, you can see the text color is red, you can see it. And also you can, for example, let me just comment this line, and you can set a number to the level. For example, in here I say level dot set text, and say for example 12. Now let me run. So we can see that there is an error argument. One has unexpected type, and because the text expect end string, now we are giving an integer in here. So now you can do like this. For example, we can typecast this with the string and run this. You can see that I am receiving the number. And but also there is a method that you can use that called set num. So just make it like this, and we can just say it level dot set num. And here you can just easily pass, for example 15. And if you run this, you can see that the receiving 15 in here. And also you can use a clear method for clearing of the level. So level dot clear. Run this, and if I run this, we can see that we don't have any text in the level. Now as I've already said that, also you can use the level for adding an image, and you can use pixmap for this and for adding the images to the level. Now Qt provides 4 classes for handling images. We have QMesh, QPicMap, and we will learn in this session. And now we have QBitmap and QPicture. So now for the first thing is that you should have an image in your working directory. So I already have in here. So this is my python.png image. So the first thing is that we need to create a label. Let me first comment this because we don't need this. And comment it. Okay, now the first thing is that we need to create the objects of Q level, and after that we need to give the parent as a self. And we don't want to add our text in here because we are adding an image, so we need to create the objects of the Q pip maps. So we need to import the Q maps from the GUI module. And now in here we can just type pixmaps equal to Q pip maps and create a pip maps icon. You can add a name image that you want, so images slash python.png. Now we can set this picmaps to the label, so label dot set picmap, and we can just use picmaps. So now if I run this, you can see that we have our image and our label. Now also I have said that you can add a zip image in the label. So let me just comment this section, we don't need it. Okay, now first we need to create the object of the label, so we can just say Q level self, and after doing this we are going to use Q movie for this. Now Q movie is a used so simple animation without sound. For example, if you want to display video and media content, for that you can use a Qt multimedia. So we'll talk about the Qt multimedia in the later part of the course, but the Q movie class is just used for showing simple animation without sound. Now also this Q movie class is related to Qt GUI module. Now first we need to import that, and we can just import that in here. So now you can say Q movie. Now we need to create the object of the Q movie like this, and in here you can add your GIF image in the path. So we are going for sky.gif image as sky.gifs in the image folder, and I want to add that, so I can just say images slash sky.gif, and now we can just say level.set movie, and we want to set the movie. After that we need to start, so the movie can start. So if you run this, you can see that we have a gif in the level. Also you can set the speed of this movie, so we can just one movie dot set speed, and you just give it around 500. Now you can see that we have our gif images and it's faster. Okay, in this lesson we are going to learn that we can get create button in PyQt. For creating button, we are going to use Q push button class. Now Q push button class is related to Q widgets module. Now let's create a practical example. So this is my Python ID, and I'm going to create a new Python file for the Q push button, and I can just right click on in here, so I can just keep the Python file. Let me just call it button example. So in here we need to add just add our some code, and we want to create our first window, our window, and after that we can create push button in the window. So I already created the window, so I'm going to just copy some of the codes from previous example, and also I can just grab this from here. So we don't need this Q phone, Q icon for right now, Q, and also let me remove Q label. And now we have our class window that extends from Q widget. This is our geometry, this is our window title, and also we need to just change this to PyQt6. We can just say Q push button, and this is the icon and Q application window. And this, now if I run this, you will see that I have a simple window. So now we can see that I have a simple GUI. Now I have already said that the Q button, Q push button is related to Q widget module. So now first we need to import that, so we can import, and after that now let's create our push button and call it the create button. And so let me just say this def create underscore button self. So the first thing is that we need to create objects, give the text of the button, for example it is click. After that you need to give the parent as a self, not, let me just call this method show self dot create button. And now I run this, you can see that a simple button is here, and you can see the text click. And now also you can set the geometry of the button. For example, if you want, you can give the width and height of the button X and Y position. So for that we can just say button dot set geometry. For first you need to give the X position and Y position. So the button, so by 130 by 130. So we can just run this, and you can see that we have a bigger button in here. Now let's change the font size of this click. For that we can just see button dot set font. Now the set font expect Q font, and Q font is related to Qt GUI module. So first we need to import that, and now we can just use Q font in here. So first you need to add the type of the font, for example. After that, the size of the font, for example 14. Also you can set, for example, if you want a bold size of font, you can just use the q font dot weight dot bold. You can see the extra bold, and for example you can use extra bold. So now if you are in PyQt5, you can just do it like this: q font dot extra bold. Now you are in PyQt6, you need to give the enum type class q font width. And now if I run this, you can see that we have extra button. Mm. And you can add an icon or set icon along with the text in here. So for this I can just say button set icon expect q icon like this. And now I already have icon python.png in my image folder, and I can just say python.png. And now if we run this, you can see that we have a simple button icon in here. And also you can set the icon size. For example, you can say that button dot set icon size. Now this icon size exceeds q size, we need to import that. So and that is this. And from PyQt6 core we want to import q size. And now in here we can just say q size. You can give the width and the height, for example 36 and 36. Now if I run this, you can see the icon is bigger, and also create a pop-up menu. For example, when I click on this, I want to show you our pop-up menu. Now first things with that, we need to import Q menu, and Q menu is related to Qt widgets module in the bin. So we have set menu that we can use for settings of the menu. Now we can just say Q menu, and in here, so I can just see the pop-up menu. So first you need to create the object of the Q menu. After that we need to add some actions, so we can just say menu dot add addition dot for example we want to just copy menu action. It should be cut menu dot add menu, for example paste. Now we can use a set menu in the button, so we can just see button dot set menu, and we want to set up this menu. And now if I run this, and if I click on this, you can see that we have a copy paste. Also can change the font size, and also you can give a background color. And here I can say that menu dot set font, and it accepts a q font. And then we can add the same as we have added in here, like this. And if we see now, it's bold, and also the size change. So we can change the background color, so we can use menu dot cells type set cell shift. Now background color, for example green. So now if I run this, and you can see that how it is changed. In this lesson we are going to learn about the q line edit. And the q line edit allows to enter and edit a single line of plain text with useful collection of editing functions, including undo and redo, cut and paste. Now there are different methods that you can use in q line edit. For example, set echo mode. For the settings, the echo mode of the line edit. So we have a set text, set focus, and some more useful methods. Now let's create a practical examples of q line edit. Now I'm going to create a new Python file in a part2 folder. I'm going to just call it line edit, example. And there are here we are going to just copy and paste our window codes, and we have our imports queue application, queue widgets, and we have a window that extends from queue widgets, set geometry sets, window titles, and set window icon. If I run this, you can see that we have a simple GUI window, and we need to change the title to queue line edit. Now QLine edit is related to Qt widgets module. So far that we need to import that QLine edit. Now let's create the object of our QLine edit in here. So I can say that line edit equal to QLine edit, and now we can pass the self as a parents. Now if you run this, we can see our line edit in here, and then you can change the font of the line edit. So line dot edit set fonts. For that, we need to import a Q font from a Qt GUI module. And here we can just say Q font. For example, I can just give a family of the font and also the size of the font. Now if we run this, now if you say hello world, now the text is bigger. Also, you can set default text. For example, you just say line edit dot set text method, and you can say that, for example, default text test, and we have default text in here, and you can set a placeholder, and we just create the placeholder line edit placeholder text, and I can say please enter your username. Now you can see that we have this, and we can just write our username in here. And also you can set enable. For example, if you want to disable the line edit, you can just use, we can just say line edit dot set enable. Now the set enable task boolean value by different, so it's true. Now you run this, and you can see what that is disabled, and we cannot write anything. Now let me just comment this too, and we set the echo mode for the line edit, and so we can just say line edit dot set echo mode, and you can use q line edit echo mode. And for example, you can use no echo password with echo. We want to see that, and now if I run this, you can see that it's like password. In this lesson, we are going to learn about management layout in Qt. Now we have already learned about some basic widget like Q push button, etc., and also Q edit. Now we are going to build a GUI application. Layout management is one of the important concepts. Now luckily in PQIT there are different layouts that you can use. For example, we have a Q layout. We have a and particularly in this lesson we are going to learn about the QH box layout. Now using the QH box layout, we can align the widget horizontally. Now let's create an example. Now this is my PyCharm IDE, and here I need to create another Python file, and I'm going to just call it box layout. Now the first thing is that we need to create our image simple GUI, and now I'm going to just copy the codes from my previous part, and you can see that I have some classes from the Qt widget module like Q applications and Q widget, and this is my class window that exits from Q widgets, and we can just change the title. So now run this, you will see that I have just a simple GUI window, and now you can see that there is in here I can create a box layout. Now Q box layout is related to Q widget module. First, we need to import the Q box layout. After importing Q box layout, we need to import a Q push button. So after this, we need to create some buttons in here. For example, I can just say button 1 equal to Q push button, and this is click 1. Button 2 equal to Q push button and click 2, and button 3 equal to Q push button, click 3. And also I can just create one more button. Let me copy this like this, and there is a button 4, and I can just click 4. Now after creating all the push button, we need to add this Q buttons in a box layout. Now the first thing is that you need to create the objects of the box layout, and I can just say box equal to Q box layout, and there is a method in box layout can use, and is the Q widget. So we have to say add layout, and using add layout we can add another layout. For example, if you have a V box layout, we can add V box layout, and we add widget, that we can add widgets. Now we can just say hbox dot add widget, and we want to add our button 1 comma hbox add widgets. We want to add our button 2, and we want to do the same for two more buttons, button 3 and also button 4, like this. So now if I run this, you can see that I am not using any button in here. That's because when you are creating your layout, you need to set the layout to your main window. Now there is a method to set layout that we can use. For example, in here we can just say self.set layout, and we want to set the main layout to hbox. Now if I run this, you can see that my buttons are aligned horizontally. You can see that these are aligned horizontally, and also there are some method that you can use in the hbox layout. For example, you can add a spacing. So for right now, you can see we don't have any specific spacing. We want to add some spacing, and we can just add hbox.s spacing, for example 100. And now I run this, you can see that I have some space from here. And also there is another method that you can use, that is called add stretch. So we can just say hbox dot add stretch, and I want to add stretch 5. And if I run this, you can see that we have button are aligned horizontally, but they are stretched. So we have already saw QH box layout, and now in this lesson we are going to talk about the QV box layout. The QV box layout, we can align our widget, our UI widget vertically. Now let's create an example. So I'm going to create a new Python file for the V box layout, and I can just say V box layout. So here I need to just pass my window codes, and this is a simple window, and I have a geometry title and icon. And now if I run this, you will see that this is my GUI window. Now I can create my Xbox layout in here. So for Xbox layout is also related to Q widgets module, and in that there we can just say window, and we need to import Q push button because we will use Q push button here. And to add our push button inside the vertical box, first we need to create the object of QV box layout, and after that we can create our button. So I can say that bt1 equal to Q push button, and in here I need, for example, click 1, and you can say that button 2 equal to Q push button, and there is a click 3, and and button 3 is equal to q push button, and this is a click 4. And I can just create one more button with the btn4 equal to q push button, and this is click 4. I have forgot to put 2, and this should be 3. Okay, so after creating of the push button, as I have already said that we need to add our this widget but push button inside the vbox layout. So there is a method add widget that we can use. So we can say ebox which add widget button 1, and we want to add our button 1. Then add widgets, we want to add button 2. bbox dot add widget, we want to add button 3, and the bbox adds widget, we want to add a button 4. After that, also we need to set our main window layout to the view box layout. So we can just say set layout to the vbox layout. So now if I run this, you can see that our buttons are aligned vertically now in the horizontal box layout. If you see, now let me just run this again. Now you can see that H box layout, and you can see this horizontally aligned, but in B box layout, now these are aligned vertically. And also you can use an example, you can add spacing. So add spacing 100, and if I run this, so you can see that we have spacing from the bottom, and we can also add trace. So we can just see vbox dot add trace, for example 5, and so you can see the buttons are traced. So we have saw that Q H box layout and Q V box layout. Now it's time to talk about Q grid layout. Now using Q grid layout, we can align our widget in row and column. So in a grid layout, we have row number and also column number, and according to those columns and row numbers, we can align our widget. Now let's create an example. First time we need to create a new Python file in the path2 folder, and I just call it grid layout. And after that, I need to paste my window code, and this is my just simple GUI application. And if I run this, you can see that I have my window. So in this window, I'm going to create my grid layout. So first we need to import QGrid layout, and it's related to Qt widgets module. And in here I can just say QGrid layout. And also I need to import your push button because I want to add my push button inside the grid layout. First we need to create the objects of the grid layout, and after that we are going to create some push buttons. And so the q push button, and this is for example 1, and button 2 equal to q push button, and that is 2. And I need to just copy and paste because I need about 8 button. So this is button 3, and I can just change to 3, button 4, so we can just say 4, and this would be 5, and this should be 6 with 2 more buttons for 5. So we need and this is 6, and also we should have another button 7, and also this is 8. Okay, now we can use our add widget to add our those push button inside the grid layout. Now we can just say grid dot add widget. So first you need to give your widget, so that for example bt1, and we can just, after that you need to give the row and also column number, for example 0 and 0 column. So this would be first button. and I can add my own button. So again, I just copy this, and this is my button 2. Should be row 0 rows and 1 column. Now grid add widget button 3, and should be second, and also this should be the third one, and you can change this to button 4. And now we can just add the images in our row 1 or 1, and row also column 0, and this is should be button 5. And for example, we can say that 1 1. So first column and also first row, this should be button 7, and also seconds, and just we can add our button 8. After creating our push button and also grid layout, now we need to set our main layout to the grid layout. So we can just say self.set layout to the grid layout. Now let's run this, and now you can see that our buttons are aligned in red, and also the column we can make it because we are using a management layout and no changes in our layout. Even in this lesson, we are going to talk about event handling in PyQt. So event handling is an important mechanism in every application. Applications should not recognize the event but must take the respective action to serve the event. Two, now in PyQt, the event handling mechanism is so-called signal and slot. An event can be in the form of clicking on a widget or pressing the enter key or selecting an option from a radio button, checkbox, and so on. Now every widget emits a signal when any event is applied on it, and that signal needs to be connected to method also known as slots. There are different built-in signal in PyQt for every widget that we get a signal. And for example, for button we have click a signal for menu signal, and we have a trigger signal for line edit. We have now let's get a practical example. Now this is my PyCharm ID, and you can see that also I have changed the appearance of my shoes color scheme. You can change that. Now let's create another Python file in here, and I'm going to just call that, for example, event handling. Also, I'm going to just copy my simple window code in here, so it's just simple GUI window to let me change the title to event handling. So now if I run this, you see that we have a just simple GUI window. Now here what I want to create a queue push button and also a queue level. And now first I need to import that. I am just import queue push button and queue level, and also use QH box layout like this because I want to add my these widgets in the horizontal box layout. And after doing this, now let me create a method in here. So I am going to just call it create widget, and first we need to create our box layout, not a B box layout. So I can just say QH box layout, and after that we are going to create our button. So I'm going to just call it button to queue push button, and I'm going to just give you a text to change text. Now let's add our this button and our box layout, and we say box.add widget, and I want to add my button. And also I need to set my main window layout to the box layout, so I can just say self.set layout to box layout. And now let's run this. Let me just call self.create widget, And all I run this, you can see that I have just a simple button in here. Also, I need to create a label, so I can just say self dot label equals q level. We let me just give a simple text, default text. Let's add this in the hbox layout, so we can just say hbox dot add widget, and I want to add my level, self dot level. If I run this, you can see that we have a level and also the button in here. Now what I want when I click on this button, I want to change the text to another text. So we are going to use signal and slot mechanism in PyQt. So first I need to create, I can say a slot or a button in here. So I can just say def click button self, and here I can change the text of this level. So we have already learned about level. There is a method of the text set text to the level, and now I can just say self dot level. So I can access the level using self, and I can just say set text, and I want to change this to another text, and let me say another text. Or also I want to change the font of the label, set font, and we are going to use q font. We need to import q font, and it's related to Qt GUI module. Q font. So I'm going to just use the family as type and as a times, and also the size as 15. Also we can change the color, so I can just say set style sheet, and I can give a color of red. Now we have created our click method or slot. Now we need to connect this with a signal. So I have already said that we have the built-in signal. For example, for the button we have click signal. Now in here we can just say button dot click. This is a signal for the push button. Now we can to connect this to a method that we have created, connect, and this is click button. And in this here I can just say self dot click button like this. Now if I run this, and you can see we have a button and also we have a text in here. If I click the change text, and the text is changed, also the color is changed. Now let's add our role functionality using Qt Designer. So we are going to build a simple graphical user interface application with the Qt Designer, and we want to add all functionality that we have already learned. For example, we want to add Q push button, Q line edit, Q level, and also some layouts to our widget. So first we need to open our Qt Designer. So I'm going to just open that. We can just choose from Qt6 applications, Qt, and bin folder in here, and we have our designer.exe. Just me open this with the Explorer. Open this, and you can see this is our designer.exe, and here we are going to build our widget based application. So I can just choose a widget, and after that I'm going to just click on create. And so we have a widget and we have our object inspector. So first we need to change the title of this window, so I can just come down, and here from here we have a window title, and we can just change this to the Qt Designer application. And now that also I want to change the width and the height of the window, so I can just, so you can see that in the geometry, and we have, and for example 300, and we can see 400, and by 250 like this. So first thing, we want to add a Q push button in here, so I just grab a button from here, and I can add this section. And for the button, you can see that we have a property for button. So for Texas, we have example here, we have an object name, the push button name, you can change it. If, for example, if you have a complex application, you need to change that. So for example, in here, I'm just change it to button underscore click like this. And so this is my first object name, and I can access file. So push button to this button click, and also we change the text. Click on this, and for example, let me just say click me, and we want to change the font. So we can do that from here. For example, I want to make it 12 and it should be bold like this. After that, we want to add a line edit. So if we come down and the input we get, we have line edit. We can grab that and put it here, and let's change the font to example 12 bold, and I can just make it a little bigger. Also, you can see have object name. I'm going to change this because it's a simple GUI applications, and I can just lift it like this. Let's have a placeholder. So be here, yeah. So you can see the placeholder text, and I just say please enter your name. So now I want to choose these two, and I need to add a layout. So I want this a horizontal layout. Right click, and after that you can just choose horizontal layout. After doing this, we are going to add a label. So let me find the label, and it should be, why is the label, line edit, text edit, and mm, mm, yeah, this is a label in the display we get. We can just grab the label and let's add. So you see the object name in the label. So I don't want to change this, but I want to change the font. So you can just choose font from here. It should be 12 and bold, and let's make it like this. Even we can just make it 14. Yeah, now I just choose these three widgets, and I want to make the layout as vertical. So I can choose layout, and I want to vertical like this. Okay, also I want to add the layout from my main window, so I can just choose my main window, and I want to add the layout. Or I can just, I don't want to add, so this is good. So now if I preview this, let me just go to the preview. So this is, you can see there we have a button, and you can our text in here, and also the text level, and also change, add some style sheet for this. For example, if you want to change the text level, so you can just right click on the window, or just right click on the widget. For example, I want to add a style sheet for the specific widget. So right click on this, and I can just use change style sheet, and I can add, for example, Q level, and we can just say color red. You can apply this. You can see that this has changed color. Or you can just, if you want to add more widgets, we can just click on, for example, on the main window, and you can add a style sheet. So I'm right now I'm going to just choose my level, and I can just change the style sheet from here. Q level, we can have a color of red. Apply, and okay. Also, I'm going to just remove this text level because for right now I don't need this. After creating our main design, and let's have this, so I can just click on save or save as, and I'm going to just save as this because you need to find your projects. So PyQt tutorial in and part 2, so I want to save this. So after that, click on the save. Now let's just check our PyCharm ID. even even.ui. Now we need to convert this to .py file. For converting, we are going to use the PyUIC module, and let's just open our terminal so we can change the directory to part 2, and we can just say PyUIC6 plus. After that, we need to give the name so that it is even.ui. For the output name, we want to just use it, for example, even ha.py. After that, hit enter. Now it's converted, and we can just check this. You can see that we have and this is our code. Now if I run this, okay, so we have a button, we have a line edit, and also we have our level in here. Now let's add our event handling functionality to this. For example, when I write something in here, and if I click on this, click me, I want to show, for example, on the label. Now for this, we need to create a method in here. Depth, I can say, for example, depth click me. Now first thing is that we need to get the text from the line edit. So we have a line edit. You can see that line edit. For getting the text from a line edit, we can use self dot line edit dot text, and I want to save this forever. Example, I can just, now after getting this, I am going to set the text to the level, so I can just say self dot level dot text, and I want to set this my text. And so this is our method or slot. After this, we need to connect this with the click signal of the push button. So if you see that we have a button click in here, and I can just say self dot button click dot clicked. See, this is a signal, and I want to connect this with the method that I have, and that is click me. Shall I no, self dot click me. So now I run this. Let me just write something. Let me write my name, and if I click me here, then another name in here, then so zondo. If I click, and you can see the zone. Okay, so this is all about the Qt designers, and using all types of level buttons that we can design in PyQt6. This is a long video, so I hope you guys like this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice time.